Hi everyone, and welcome to the second video of my tutorial for players using Roll20 and playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Today I will briefly go over the combat scenarios that you will encounter in D&D 5e, how they play out in Roll20, and I will give a brief explanation of how combat works. Now, the first thing that will happen if you enter combat scenario is that the Dungeon Master will ask you to roll initiative. Now, basically what that means is that everyone will roll, and based off your initiative, it'll decide who gets to act when. Now, for you to roll initiative in Roll20, make sure you select your token. So this is the token of my rangeling that we created in the previous video. You can open your character sheet and you will see here is initiative +3. Now the +3 is based off your dex modifier. So you will see your dexterity modifier is +3 and therefore your initiative is +3. There are some scenarios where your initiative can be more. For example, there's the alert feat that always gives you an extra +5 to your initiative, and the jack of all trades ability of the bard, for example, will always add half of your proficiency bonus to your initiative roll. But we don't have either of those, so our initiative is just the same modifier as our dexterity. We have selected our token, and now all we do is click on the initiative button. And you will see that what happened was we rolled a 12 for our initiative, and you will see that there's a turn order and we got added as a 12. Now our rangeling is going to fight a direwolf, so the Dungeon Master will select a direwolf token, open his character sheet of the direwolf and click on initiative, and the direwolf rolled an 8. Now if there were more people and more monsters, then all of them would do the same thing, and you will have a list in the turn order showing you exactly who acts when. Since our rangeling acts first, we are going to attack the direwolf. Now, during a turn, which refers to a specific character getting to act, the character can perform 3 different moves in each of their turns. They can move, so we can move around. They can do an action. An action would be to either attack the wolf or try and grapple the wolf or cast a spell on it. So anything that takes an action will be consumed during that stage. And the third action you can take is called a bonus action. Bonus actions can be used for several things. Not all skills can be used as bonus actions, obviously. You get spells that cost 1 bonus action. If you are dual wielding, then your offhand attack will be used as a bonus action, but only if you attack as your action. And then some classes like the rogue, for example, has different abilities that they can use as a bonus action. For example, disengaging, which means that they can move away from an enemy without encountering an attack of opportunity. So on our turn, we are going to attack the direwolf. So I'll open the character sheet again, and we've set it up previously to have a short sword, a longbow attack, and then a short sword with hunter's mark. Now we are going to use our hunter's mark first, so we are going to cast hunter's mark. Now clicking on it will show you hunter's mark. It explains to you what it is, and you will see here it says casting time 1 bonus action. So I have now consumed my bonus action for my turn, but the direwolf will now take the effect of an extra 1d6 damage if I manage to hit it with my attack. So here we set up a custom roll for our short sword, but it would include the hunter's mark damage. So we will click on this, and it will roll our attack for us. So you will roll your attack. Your dungeon master will, based off the character sheet, inform you whether or not you manage to hit. You'll see that the direwolf has an armor class of 14. We managed to roll 14, which means that we do hit it, and we would hit it for a total of 11 damage. So clicking on the token, I set up this green bar, bubble to represent your current HP. So you can just type -11, and the direwolf has taken 11 damage. So I have now attacked. I have used my bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark. The only thing I have left is my movement action for my turn. However, if I move away from the direwolf, he will get the opportunity to attack me, and therefore it's called an attack of opportunity. The only way for you to avoid that happening is by taking the disengage action, but since I used my action to attack, I can't do that. So I'm free to move around the wolf, like this for example, but as soon as I step away from it, it will get a chance to attack me. So I'm just going to stay where I am, and then my turn is complete. It is now the direwolf's turn. So during the direwolf's turn, the monsters get exactly the same actions as you get. They will be able to attack, move, and if they have some kind of skill for that they can use a bonus action for, they can use that as well. So the dungeon master will open his sheet. You can see here that he has a bite action, and he is going to bite at the ranger. He rolled an 11, which is less than our armor class. Here the armor class is 20. It's not quite accurate since I added a shield and plate mail for the ranger doing some testing. But in any case, I think previously our armor was 16. So he rolled 11 and missed. And now it's the end of the round. So a round would be all the characters in the turn order finishing each of their turns. And now we're back at the top, and it is my turn again. And I feel that I want to get away from this wolf. I have another party member that's willing to step in and fight it. I want to get some range on it, so I will take the disengage action, and I will simply move away from the wolf. Now, each player, based off its race, has a different movement speed. You will find smaller races normally have less movement speed, halflings, dwarves, so forth would have something like 25 movement speed. Other races like humans and elves would have 30 movement speed, and then specific elves, for example the wood elf, would have 35 movement speed. You will also have classes like the monk and the barbarian that will increase your movement speed at certain levels. But for now, we only have 25 movement speed. And what that means is, if you look at Roll20, you'll see a grid. Now, normally, if a map is set up, each block in the grid would represent 5 feet. So for me to move 25 feet would be to move 5 blocks. Now, you can move diagonally and still only be considered to have moved 5 feet. So I have moved 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So now I'm 25, I've moved my 25 feet. Since I took the disengage action, I cannot do anything else. I have taken the action, I've taken my movement, and I don't have anything that I can do for a bonus action. So it's the wolf's turn. Now let's assume for a moment that we have another player, and that player has entered our combat and has kept the wolf, or has moved into the wolf's fighting range. The wolf would then, let's say the DM decides the wolf is very angry with you and is going to chase after you, even though there's a closer enemy to it. It's going to move 10, 15, or 5, 10, and now you'll see it moves out of the range of the other character, which means this character would be allowed to roll an attack of opportunity. And this uses the 4th type of action you get. If it is not your turn, there are certain actions that you can take called reactions. Attack of opportunity is the most common of these. However, you also get spells that cost a reaction. For example, Hellish Rebuke, that says as soon as somebody hits you with an attack, you can immediately, as a reaction, cast Hellish Rebuke, and they take damage as well. The Bard, for example, College of Lore Bard, has a skill called Cutting Words, which they can use a reaction to lower the attack roll of an enemy. But in this case, our ally simply chooses to roll an attack of opportunity, and since I don't have a sheet for them, I will just make something up. So we roll d20 plus 4. This is a high dex rogue. 13. It is lower than the 14 armor class of the wolf, so they don't manage to hit the wolf as it runs past, and the wolf comes running towards us, and it is going to attack us. So once again, does a bite attack on us. This time it definitely hits, and with it hitting, we take 12 damage. So first of all, in this bubble, this green bubble where it indicates our HP, we can type minus 12, showing that we are on 8 HP. And secondly, you'll see it has a secondary condition where we have to roll a DC 13 strength saving throw. Now what this means is that we roll a strength saving throw, and we need to get 13 or higher. Now if we don't get 13 or higher, this is what happens. If the target is a creature, which we are, it must succeed on a DC saving throw or be knocked prone. So a very easy way of rolling your saving throw is simply to then go and click on strength. So first select a token, click on strength, and we rolled a strength saving throw. Now we failed. We rolled only a 7. And that means that we are now knocked prone. So you can simply add a little icon onto our character to show that we are knocked prone. This is a status effect in Dungeons and Dragons. It basically means that you are lying on the ground, and that gives melee attackers advantage when they are attacking you, but it does, on the other hand, give ranged attackers disadvantage when it's trying to attack you. But that's the wolf's turn, so now it's our turn again. Now, if we want to get up from being prone, which in this case is probably a good idea, otherwise the wolf will get to do an attack rolling with advantage. So to stand up or to get out of prone position will always cost us half our movement speed. So I choose to stand up, and I am then, so I've only used half my movement action. I can still move about 10 feet if I wanted to. I can still use my action and reaction. So first of all, I decide to attack it with my short sword as an action, and I hit for 12 damage. So let's reduce this by 12. And do I have a spell that can help me? No. So I chose Cure Wounds as a second spell, but it costs an action to cast. If I took something like Healing Words, for example, it's a bonus action to cast, so I could have used that. But instead I will use another short sword in my offhand and attack it again. Now, since I don't have it set up, the way an offhand attack works is that you do not add your modifier to your damage. So where we would have rolled 1d6 plus 3 for the damage, we would only be rolling 1d6 for an offhand attack. However, the ranger, the fighter, and a couple of other classes get to choose something called fighting styles. So let's for now assume that our ranger has chosen the 2-weapon fighting style. That means that I get to add my modifier to my offhand attacks as well. That means I would have dealt a nice 9 damage plus my hunter's mark to this wolf if only I hit, but I only rolled a 9. Now to speed things up, it's the direwolf's turn again. He is going to take his action to bite at us. He hits us again for 9 damage this time, and that is enough to drop us down to 0. So now we're at 0 HP. Now we better hope that one of our allies, for example this rogue, can come up and kill this wolf. So interestingly enough, let's just cover this topic while we're here. When you reach 0, you are what is considered to be unconscious. So you are not dead yet. But come your turn, you have to roll a death saving throw. So here you would see successes and failures, and then death saves. It's right next to your hit dice. So you'll click on death saves, and it will roll a death saving throw. Now, the aim is to get 10 or higher. That would be considered a success. So we can tick off one success since we rolled 13. and then our turn is over. Now, let's say this rogue managed to kill this direwolf, so we just mark this direwolf as dead. On its turn, the rogue can come over to us and try and stabilize us. So what would happen is the rogue would roll a medicine check. So a medicine check would be one of your skills. You would see medicine is based off of wisdom. So let's say this rogue is of average wisdom, has a +1. So the rogue rolls an 11 on its medicine check, which is enough for them to stabilize us. That means we no longer have to roll death saving throws, which is great for us, because obviously we would prefer not to fail any. But we are now considered stable, but that doesn't mean we are awake. If you are stable and you are not healed, then you will wake up in 1d4 hours. So here I rolled 1d4 and I rolled a 3, which means theoretically in about 3 hours time I will wake up with 1 HP. On the other hand, if I had a cleric in my team and my cleric came and cast Cure Wounds on me, I'm just going to use the ranger's one that I've set up. So the cleric comes around, casts Cure Wounds on me, I heal for 10 HP, which puts me back to 10 obviously. Then I am awake again, and not knocked out. So that's kind of how that dynamic works, is if you are knocked unconscious, you can either be stabilized and wake up a couple of hours later, or you can be healed and then wake up immediately. So some interesting things about death saves. Basically, if you fail 3 death saving throws, let's say I failed all 3 mine, then your character is considered dead. Game over, roll a new character, or if your party has enough money or has a cleric that is high enough level, pretty much both actually, they can maybe pay for you to get resurrected. But we're only level 2, there's no way we'll have enough money. I think it costs like 1,000 gold to resurrect a person, and you need to find a level 5, a cleric that can cast level 5 or higher spells to be able to resurrect you. So obviously we do not want to fail 3 death saves, so it's much better for your party to come and stabilize you at least. On the other hand, if I roll a death save and I rolled, for example, a 1, so I rolled a d20 and I rolled a critical fail, that means I immediately take 2 failures. Not 1, but 2. On the other hand, let's say I roll a d20 and I roll a critical, so I rolled a 20. That means I immediately get up with 1 HP. So let's say I was rolling and I rolled a 20, then all of a sudden I am awake and I have 1 HP. And our turn order would continue as normal. So that is pretty much it for combat. Normally they would consider, or it is considered, that each round of combat, so in other words, everyone taking their turn, takes about 6 seconds. So it's considered to be quite quick. I mean, that means that about 10 rounds have to go past before it's actually a minute that has gone past in battle. So you should not be looking at, for example, casting spells that take a minute to cast when you are in battle, because that would be a whole 10 rounds. And in the meantime, you could have been of more use to your party. Anyway, hope this helps. Hope this shows you how battle or combat works in D&D and using Roll20 to do it. And let me know if you want to see anything else. Thanks.